"You're too emotional. You'll make a scene. You're not coming to your grandmother's funeral." My mother's voice cut through the phone line, cold and final. "I'm Sophie Chun, 32 years old, and that single call 3 days before my grandmother. Eleanor Walsh's funeral shattered whatever illusion I had left about my family. Let me be clear why this wasn't just hurtful. It was war. I'd spent $47,000 of my own money on experimental cancer treatments when insurance denied coverage. I'd slept 89 nights in a hospital chair during her final months. Missing client meetings worth $300,000. I'd driven 2,000 miles round trip every major holiday for 15 years straight, while my brother Marcus hadn't visited in 5 years and my sister Vanessa only appeared for Instagram photo ops. And now they were banning me from saying goodbye. Hello, beloved listeners. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'm always curious to know which corners of the world you're tuning in from. Let me know your city in the comments. Enjoy the story. I stared at my phone in my Seattle office, hands trembling. My assistant knocked softly. "Sophie, the Ferguson meeting in 10 minutes. I nodded, composed myself, and made a decision that would change everything. I wasn't just going to that funeral. I was going to expose everything they've done. Growing up in Portland, Oregon, I learned early that love in the Chun household was conditional. My father, Richard, 61, a pharmaceutical sales manager, treated family like a corporate hierarchy. At the top sat Marcus, 35, the golden child. Below him, barely, sat Vanessa, 29, the baby who weaponized tears. And at the bottom stood me, the forgettable middle child whose straight A's earned distracted nods, while Marcus's B+ in chemistry got a $2,000 celebration dinner at Jake's famous crawfish with 50 guests. My mother, Patricia, 59, a former teacher, perfected differential affection. She attended all 47 of Vanessa's dance recitals but missed my valedictorian speech because of a headache. Spent $800 on Marcus's law school application consultant, but told me to use the free guidance counselor. The message was clear: you are less than. The only person who saw me was Grandma Eleanor Walsh, Mum's mother, a retired librarian with sharp blue eyes who lived 15 minutes away. While my parents hosted elaborate dinners for Marcus's friends or Vanessa's influencer crowd, Grandma took me to Powell's Books every Saturday. We'd spend 3 hours in the stacks, and she'd buy whatever caught my interest. "A curious mind is priceless, Sophie," she'd say. "Don't let anyone tell you different." At 14, I scored a perfect 1,600 on the SAT. I ran home waving the score report, heart pounding. Dad glanced up from his iPad. "That's good. Did you take out the trash?" Mum was on the phone with Marcus. Vanessa was filming a makeup tutorial. Nobody celebrated. That weekend, Grandma took me to Saturday Market, bought me a celebratory crepe, and told me she was proud. She was the only one. When Marcus graduated law school at 26, my parents threw a party at the governor's mansion ballroom, 200 guests, $18,000 in catering, live jazz band, ice sculpture of Lady Justice. My college graduation was different. I'd earned a full scholarship to University of Washington for accounting. I sent invitations 3 months in advance. 2 weeks before, Mum called. "Vanessa has a sponsored beach photo shoot in Malibu that weekend, a $15,000 contract. We need to chaperone. You understand, right?" I understood perfectly. Grandma Eleanor, 76 and recovering from hip surgery, drove 4 hours alone from Portland to Seattle. She wore a lavender dress and pearl earrings, stood when they called my name, and applauded louder than anyone. After, she took me to Caneless, Seattle's fanciest restaurant, $240 for dinner. "This is your day, Sophie. You earned every bit." That meal meant more than any family dinner ever had. At 25, I wanted to start my own tax consulting business. I needed $23,000. I had $8,000 saved. I asked my parents for a loan. Dad laughed. "Starting a business in this economy? Financial suicide. Keep the stable job." Mum added, "We just loaned Marcus $35,000 for his Brooklyn condo down payment. We don't have spare capital." I called Grandma just to vent. 3 days later, she showed up with a $15,000 check. "This is a loan because you're going to succeed. I believe in you." I paid her back in 18 months with 8% interests, $16,200 total. She cried, You didn't have to include interest. I did. She'd given me dignity when my parents wouldn't. 5 years ago. When I was 27 and my business was thriving, Grandma mentioned Dad had been visiting more often. 3 times this month. He keeps asking about my will, the house, my investments. It feels strange. He never cared before. I felt a chill, but dismissed it. 2 years later, at 29, Grandma called late one night. Sophie, I updated my will. I'm leaving half of everything to you, about $890,000 total. You're the one who's been here, but your parents found out. Your father yelled at me, said I was playing favorites, that it would tear the family apart. I'm not changing it, but I wanted you to know what's coming. What came was a systematic campaign to isolate me. Over the next 18 months, my parents coordinated visits to Grandma, specifically when I traveled for work. Marcus started sending her legal articles about undue influence. Vanessa showed up with photographers, creating Instagram content about precious time with Nana, posts that got 12,000 likes. She'd leave after 45 minutes once content was captured. 4 months before she died, Grandma started calling more frequently, sometimes repeating stories. I took her to Dr. Sarah Feldman at Oregon Health and Science University. After testing, Dr. Feldman diagnosed mild cognitive impairment but emphasized Grandma was still highly functional and legally competent. I asked her to document everything carefully, a strange instinct I couldn't explain then. I informed my parents immediately. Dad's response, maybe she shouldn't be making major financial decisions anymore. The implication hung heavy. Marcus called 2 weeks later. Given her diagnosis, maybe I should have power of attorney. As the eldest, I cut him off. She executed those documents 3 years ago. I'm her healthcare proxy and financial POA. It's handled. His silence was heavy with rage. We'll see about that. I knew they'd make a move, so I protected evidence. I asked Grandma's permission to record our conversations to preserve her memories as cognition changed. She agreed enthusiastically. Those recordings, 47 hours over 3 months, captured her in perfect lucidity talking about her wishes, frustrations with Dad's sudden interest, and absolute clarity about wanting me to inherit half, if anything happens. Promise you'll fight for what I want, she said in one recording dated October 8th. Your father is circling like a vulture. Don't let him rewrite my wishes. In early December, I arrived for a scheduled visit and found Marcus's car in the driveway. Inside, he sat at Grandma's kitchen table with papers and his laptop. Grandma looked confused and tired. What's going on? Marcus didn't look up, just helping Grandma review estate documents. I looked at Grandma, fear in her eyes. I didn't ask. He just showed up. I turned to Marcus. Leave. Now. After he left, Grandma broke down. He kept saying the current will isn't fair, that I'm hurting the family. Sophie, I don't want to change it. You deserve this. I hired a private investigator the next day, Rachel Martinez, specializing in elder fraud. I paid $5,000 up front. Watch my parents and siblings. I need evidence. Rachel, former Seattle PD with 15 years experience, nodded. Happens more than you think. I'll get you what you need. On January 15th, I was in San Francisco closing a $400,000 contract when my phone rang at 3:47 a.m. A nurse from Providence Portland Medical Center. Your grandmother suffered a massive stroke. She passed at 3:20 a.m. I'm so sorry. I was on my feet immediately, booking the 6:15 a.m. flight. Who was with her? The nurse paused. Her son Richard and daughter-in-law Patricia were already here when the ambulance arrived. I landed at 8 o'clock, drove straight to the hospital, arriving at 9:30. My family was gathered, Dad in a dark suit, Mom crying, Marcus on his phone, Vanessa staring blankly, and a stranger with a briefcase. Who's that? Dad blocked my path. There's no point going back. She's gone. The man introduced himself. Gregory Walsh, attorney with Walsh and Patterson Estate Services. I've been working with your grandmother on estate planning. Since when? Grandma's attorney was Barbara Kim. Gregory smiled sympathetically. Mrs. Walsh engaged our services 6 weeks ago for an estate review. 6 weeks ago. When I was in Vancouver, out of cell service, I looked at Dad. You changed her will. He looked offended. Mother made her own decisions. She wanted to be fair, not favor the one who manipulated her in her declining mental state. I walked out, drove to Grandma's house, and broke down for 10 minutes. Then I called Rachel. I need everything you found. This is war. Rachel's report was damning. Over 4 months, Dad visited Grandma 12 times more than the previous 10 years combined. Every visit occurred when I was confirmed out of town, cross-referenced with my travel calendar and their credit card records. Marcus visited 7 times, always with Dad. Attorney Gregory Walsh visited 4 times. Medical records showed Grandma remained legally competent. Dr. Feldman's last note 2 weeks before death stated patient remains competent. Mild memory issues, but judgment intact. Rachel's conclusion: undue influence. The timing suggests orchestration. You have grounds to contest. Wednesday afternoon, Mum called. We've decided that, given your emotional outbursts and mental state, you shouldn't attend the funeral. You're too emotional. You'll make a scene. Draw attention instead of honoring Eleanor with dignity. I gripped my phone. I've been honoring her for 15 years while you ignored her. I paid $47,000 for treatments. I slept 89 nights in hospital chairs. I drove to Portland 180 times. And you're telling me I'm too emotional? Mum's voice turned icy. You manipulated a sick old woman. You isolated her from us. You turned her against her family for inheritance. For once, think about someone other than yourself and stay away. The line went dead. I made 3 calls. First, Rachel, I need you at the funeral Saturday. Bring cameras and witnesses. Second, David Park, an estate litigation attorney in Portland. I need emergency representation. Undue influence case. He quoted $50,000 retainer, potential $200,000 total. I wrote the check. Third, Jessica Tran, my best friend. Clear your Saturday. About to blow up my family. David filed the petition Friday. Judge Catherine Morrison issued a temporary restraining order, freezing Eleanor's entire estate. The sheriff served papers Friday evening. My phone exploded with calls. Dad's voicemail. You ungrateful, vindictive bitch. You're dead to this family. I blocked them all. Saturday morning, I dressed in a tailored black Armani suit, hair in a severe bun. I looked like what I was, a successful businesswoman who'd come to win. Rachel and David met me at the hotel. We arrived at the church at 9:45. 80 people were gathered. Dad saw me and marched over, face purple. You need to leave. I handed him a manila envelope. Court order freezing Grandma's estate. Every asset, every account. Pending investigation into undue influence. His hands shook. Marcus stepped forward. This is inappropriate. Whatever issues you have, discuss them after the funeral. I looked at him, voice carrying. You hadn't visited Grandma in 5 years until you coordinated with Dad to pressure an 84-year-old woman with dementia to change her will. That's respect? Vanessa gasped. That's a lie. I turned to her. You posted photos for Instagram likes while I paid medical bills. You showed up for 45-minute photo sessions while I sat through 89 nights of chemotherapy. The crowd watched like theater. Pastor Williams came out distressed. Please, this isn't the time. I held up my hand. You're right. May I address everyone inside? I have something important about my grandmother. Dad tried blocking the entrance. Rachel stepped forward, pie credentials displayed. Sir, Ms. Chun has every legal right to attend a public funeral. If you forcibly remove her, you'll create a legal problem. I'm documenting everything. I walked past them into the church. The service began with hymns and eulogy. Dad spoke about a devoted mother, hollow and generic. Marcus spoke about invented childhood memories. Vanessa read an online poem. Then Pastor Williams looked at me. Would anyone else like to share? I stood, walked to the pulpit, pulled papers from my jacket. My name is Sophie Chun. I want to share not my memories but Eleanor's own words. These are transcripts from recordings I made with her permission when she knew her memory was declining. Pin drop silence. I began reading. October 8th. I want Sophie to have half of everything. She's the one who's been here, who truly loves me. Richard has visited more in the last month than 5 years, but it doesn't feel like love. It feels like he's circling, waiting. I won't change my will. Sophie deserves this, Mum choked. I continued. November 2nd, Richard and Marcus brought papers today. They kept saying it wasn't fair to exclude Marcus and Vanessa, but it's about recognizing who was present. They want me to sign something. I said no. They weren't happy. Dad stood, shaking. Those recordings are fake. She manipulated everyone. I pressed play on my phone, connected to the church sound system. Grandma's voice filled the sanctuary. If anything happens, promise you'll fight. Your father is circling like a vulture. Don't let him rewrite my wishes. Time-stamped, verified, undeniable. I held up another document. Medical report from Dr. Feldman, January 3rd, 2 weeks before Grandma died. While Eleanor had mild impairment, she remained legally competent and capable of making decisions. Any claims of incapacity are false. Marcus was on his feet. This is a funeral, not a courtroom. I looked at him directly. I'm honoring Grandma's wishes, something you tried to prevent. You changed her will while I was away, exploited your position as a lawyer when she was vulnerable. You abused your grandmother. I pulled out another paper. Bank records showing Dad visited 12 times in 4 months, always when I traveled. Always with Marcus or Gregory Walsh. This was coordinated. This was elder abuse. The words hit like a bomb. Gasps rippled. Mrs. Patterson from Grandma's book club stood, pointing at Dad. Richard Chun, you should be ashamed. Eleanor told me you were pressuring her. Dad's face was crimson. David Park stood. Mr. Chun, I'd advise you to stop. Every word is being recorded. You might want to consult your attorney about criminal exposure for elder coercion. Chaos erupted. Half the congregation was outraged. Vanessa cried real tears. Marcus stood frozen. Mum had her face in her hands. Pastor Williams tried regaining control. I finished gently. Grandma Eleanor was the only person who truly saw me. Loved me without conditions. In her final months, people who should have protected her saw her as an asset to manage. I'm fighting not for money, but because she deserves her voice heard in death. She documented her wishes clearly. I will spend every dollar to honor them. I looked at Dad. You stole my right to say goodbye by not calling when she was dying. You tried stealing my funeral attendance. But you will not steal her legacy. The legal battle lasted 9 months. Discovery revealed everything: Dad's increased visits during my travel, Marcus searching, changing will with dementia, Gregory Walsh billing $8,400 for persuasion services, neighbors testified hearing raised voices, seeing Grandma crying after visits. Dr. Feldman confirmed competency. Judge Morrison reviewed the 47 hours of recordings. Marcus destroyed himself in deposition. When asked if he coordinated visits during my absence, he hesitated. David presented texts between Marcus and Dad. Sophie's in SF this week. Good time to discuss trust, and she's in Vancouver until Friday. Move on will revision Thursday. The trial lasted 3 days. Judge Morrison's 23-page decision was devastating. She found clear and convincing evidence of undue influence and declared the revised will void. Original will reinstated. I received $445,000 plus the house worth $520,000. Marcus and Vanessa got $100,000 each. My parents got nothing. The original will excluded them for years of neglect. Judge Morrison ordered $45,000 in sanctions and referred Marcus to the Oregon State Bar for professional misconduct. The fallout was catastrophic. Marcus received a 2-year license suspension for exploiting family relationship for personal gain. His Manhattan firm terminated his partnership. His wife filed for divorce. He's now a legal consultant in Newark, making a quarter of previous income. Vanessa's influencer career collapsed when someone posted my funeral speech on Facebook. It went viral in eldercare communities. Brands dropped her immediately. Her followers plummeted from 280,000 to 63,000, without income. She moved back to Portland, taking a $38,000 marketing job. My parents couldn't access the frozen estate to pay debts. They sold their house for $680,000 to cover $540,000 in debt, downsizing to a Beaverton apartment at $1,850 monthly. Dad was forced into early retirement. Mum took a part-time Target job at $16 an hour. The couple who vacationed in Tuscany now clip coupons at grocery outlet. I expanded Chun and Associates to Portland, hiring 15 employees. The office generates $800,000 annually. I renovated Grandma's house for $80,000 and turned it into a transitional home for young women aging out of foster Carolina's house. Free housing with support services. I donated the $520,000 sale proceeds to create the Eleanor Walsh Memorial Scholarship at Portland Community College for women returning to education. The fund generates $28,000 annually. 40 women have received support. By 33, My business had 47 employees across 4 cities with $8.5 million annual revenue. I bought a Capitol Hill house with Space Needle views for $1.2 million. I'm dating Daniel Kim, a software architect. Life is full weekend trips, painting classes, pet rescue volunteering. My family made 3 contact attempts. Mum sent a letter with vague apologies. I shredded it. Vanessa Demed, can we put the past behind us? I blocked her. Dad emailed about Mum's diabetes, requesting financial help with medical bills because insurance was minimal. The audacity. I forwarded it to David Park, who sent a cease and desist. 3 months of silence since. Every January 15th, I closed Chun and Associates in all offices, paid day off with a mandate, volunteer at senior centers, nursing homes, elder care facilities. Spend the day serving seniors. Make sure no elderly person feels invisible. We've served over 500 seniors in 2 years. I visit Grandma's grave every January 15th alone, bringing white lilies. I talk to her about the business, Eleanor's house, scholarship recipients, my life, Daniel, the peace I found. I always end the same. I kept my promise, Grandma. I fought, I won, and I'm living the life you wanted for me. This past January, someone had left flowers. The card read, "Thank you for the scholarship. Because of you and Sophie, I'm graduating this May with my accounting degree. Maria Santos, Eleanor Walsh Scholar." I cried then because that's exactly what Grandma wanted. Her love multiplying, changing lives. The lesson: family isn't blood. It's who shows up, who stays, who loves unconditionally. When people reveal their love has a price tag, you walk away. You set steel boundaries and don't look back. Not because you're cruel, but because you deserve better. I got justice. Grandma got hers. And every scholarship recipient, every woman in Eleanor's house, every senior visited by my team, they're proof that real love doesn't die. It multiplies. I'm 34 now. Chun & Associates projects $12 million revenue this year. We're expanding to Austin and Denver. I'm healthy, successful, surrounded by people who value me. I sleep soundly with Daniel and my rescue dog Luna. I've built a life I'm proud of, a life Grandma would be proud of, and I did it all without them. Thanks for staying through this story. What would you have done? Have you had to fight for justice against family? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this resonated, if you believe in boundaries and honoring people who truly love us, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories about justice and building the life you deserve. See you in the next one. Remember, you don't owe anyone access to your life just because you share DNA.